Primavera Avocados is back for the spring and summer season. Grown on a family ranch in Southern California since 1979, these avocados are hand-picked and delivered to your door in perfect condition. You can order a box or sign up for a subscription to save money. Each box includes 4 pounds or 8 to 10 avocados delivered to your door. Order at primaveraavocados.com, Primavera avocados.com. Use promo code TASTE at checkout to get 10% off your order. These avocados are only in season through July, so order now. Named one of the Wall Street Journal's 10 best places to go in 2025, Traverse City is northern Michigan magic. Think sparkling blue waters, golden dunes, and of course, incredible food. This summer marks the debut of the Traverse City Food and Wine Festival, running August 20th through 24th. The event highlights both national and local chefs including Tyler Florence, Ji-Hae Kim, Mei Lin, and Kate Williams, and features ticketed dinners, a grand tasting tent, and wine tasting. Visit traversityfoodandwine.com for details.
The thing that I'm most proud of is the legacy of teaching a generation or two about food in a way that I didn't have when I was growing up. I didn't know what an amuse-bouche was until I was 30. I mean, I'll have a 13-year-old say, we had an amuse-bouche contest at my sleepover last night.
This is Taste. I'm your host, Eliza Barbanel. Does Padma Lakshmi really need an introduction? The Emmy-nominated producer, television host, food expert, and New York Times best-selling author is in a league of her own. And recently she joined us for a live conversation at the Bell House in Brooklyn. She shared her take on how Top Chef impacted food culture, shooting Taste the Nation, and writing her new cookbook, Padma's All-American. Plus her memories of 90s New York, her epic cookbook collection, and the rush of doing stand-up. Padma Lakshmi, this is Taste. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. What a full house.
I'm so excited. When I found out that tonight's theme was Stay Cool, you were the first and only person that I wanted to speak with. I think that I've been shaping culture and food culture for so long, and I'm just really excited and honored to speak with you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm sure everyone wants to hear a lot of things from you. To start, I often ask my guests on the show to share a food memory with me. I think you probably have a million food memories, so I'm wondering if you would share a food memory of a dish that you feel was somehow impactful or pivotal in your career.
Wow, there's been so many. Which one to choose? One food memory that I think was really important, it sounds highfalutin, but you'll see why. I went on this food tour where I went to Noma to eat. This was a long time ago. This was certainly 15 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And it was wonderful. It was a 7-course meal. And then the next day, I went to El Bulli, like sort of bang, bang, back to back before it closed. And that was a 50-course meal. and because of my job, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of great meals. But on the flight home, I remember thinking, why is only white food fetishized this way? And not that those two experiences were not worthy. They were exquisite and memorable and really special and all of those things. And I started thinking about other kinds of food, and I think it was a catalyst in a weird way, even though, the food that we feature on Taste the Nation is so vastly different. We have a couple of very high-end people on there, but for the most part, it's really different. And so it made me curious about a different kind of food, almost because, I was lucky enough to have all these wonderful rare experiences, I remember one of the first courses is a pot with yogurt and then malted powder on top of it, like a little, terracotta pot, like you would plant, geraniums in. And then it had greens that were sticking out of it. And then we were told that was our first course. And, it was a carrot that had a snail or slug on it. And it was just such a creative meal. But it just, then after that, as much as I appreciate the meal, I just started thinking about, the dosa cart in Washington Square Park and all these different immigrant foods, and why nobody was looking at the food that most people ate every day with the same reverence. And I think that was the seed for Taste the Nation.
I love hearing about that seed, and also knowing that the great Padma Lakshmi can go to Noma and still think, well, what's better, what's more out there? Because I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of curiosity, I imagine the last time you were in the Bell House is when you were doing Padma puts on a comedy show here. What was it like to be doing stand-up?
It's I love this place. I love the Bell House. I think it has a great energy. So I was very happy to be back here tonight when, they said this was taking place here. We do a comedy show here. We've done it for years. And everybody comes out, all the comics that you would know. And it started out from a very organic place. And it's always a fundraiser usually for National Network of Abortion Funds. Little did I know how much we would need it, even more now than we did then. But it's always a good show. And, I never, for the first few years, I just hosted it. And I just, let the comedians, the professionals do their thing. Bowen Yang and Matt, your show, hosted it for a couple of years, Roy Wood Jr. as well. And then just the last couple of years, I just tried my hand at it on a lark, because all these comedians were there, because I knew them, and I sort of called in favors to perform for free for charity and stuff. And it was always a medium I was really curious about. And it's been interesting learning how to write for that medium. And it's excruciating. It's fucking terrifying. And it's exhilarating also. It's just you and the mic, and it's wonderful because it's such a direct experience with the crowd. And I think nowadays we're really missing that, just like that immediate one-on-one, looking in the eye, having an exchange, and being funny on top of it. It's a lot. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and I imagine, especially as someone who has been a host and been an interviewer and done cameos, to be speaking presumably off the top of your head, or at least just yourself in the audience, must be a really kind of different connection to have.
I mean, it's wonderful because, you can just say anything. I mean, I say shit on this stage I would never say in an interview like this one. Or, on my social media, or any other form, let alone my TV shows. Most of that gets edited out anyway, because I have people who care about me. But when I'm doing this on this stage, usually it's just, there's a pact that you have with the audience that you hope is sacred, that you're just going to talk about stuff. And I love live television as well. I started out on Italian television in my 20s as part of a cast of a live 6-hour variety show. No 5-second tape delay. Italy's highest rated show was called Dominica Inn. It might still be on. It's been on forever. And I loved it so much because it was so long ago. There was no internet, and there was no social media, and there were no camera phones. It was just live television, and it was exhilarating. And that is what comedy gives me. I think there's a very intense and spontaneous and charged thing that happens when that's the exchange between you and your audience. There's no editing, there's no television, there's no filming, there's no journalist, interpreting or shaping. It's just, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you.
I have to say, I've tried very hard to find excerpts from Dominica Inn on YouTube, and I have not managed to find them. But if anyone in the audience,
as I said, this was before the internet. So
if anyone has like a VHS tape, let me know, and I will find a way to play it. I want to talk just a little about Top Chef because I think so many people here know you through that, and you were the host for 17 years. And that was such a transformative period of time in food culture and food television. And I'm curious what role you think Top Chef had in shaping where we're at today in terms of food culture.
I think it had a huge role to play. I saw how food changed just in the evolution of our show, of being there so long. If I had a kid, they'd be going to college by now if it was a Top Chef baby, right? But I think at first we were smart in that we didn't sort of jump on the bandwagon of most reality shows, and we were really about the food and the craft of making it. And I think that really served us well because it gave us, first of all, a meaning to our show, but also, longevity with the audience and with the food community, which is really important. And I think we earned that and we deserved it. And the thing that I'm most proud of is the legacy of teaching a generation or two about food in a way that I didn't have when I was growing up. I didn't know what an amuse-bouche was until I was 30. I hail a cab on the corner and I'll have a 13-year-old say, we had an amuse-bouche contest at my sleepover last night. Or we had a quick fire at my camp. I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. And so I think we educated people much more about food. We also allowed other people to live vicariously through us, because most people don't really, again, have access to that kind of fine dining, which is a shame. But most people don't. There's a lot of inaccessibility for many where food is concerned in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly so many chefs had their careers elevated and transformed by being on the show.
Completely. If you look at the Food Network, it's all our alumni. I'm just saying. Look at any Food Network show and you'll see them all, Antonia and Richard, and even on Fox, it's Naisha. They all came through our house, and they're all part of our alumni, and I'm super proud of all of them.
Absolutely. I'm curious if you developed any sort of sixth sense in the beginning of the later seasons. Could you kind of pick someone out of the crowd because of a quick fire or a way they walked into the room and know that they were going to make it far in the competition?
Not the way they walked in, no. No. First of all, I walk in first, so. But you never know. People surprised you. And, but through their food. When I did Top Chef, it was very important to us that, and I would maintain that going forward too, is that I don't really know that much about the contestants at all. Sometimes I don't even know their last names. I read their last names, obviously, and, I sort of get a one sheet, but, it's irrelevant to me. I don't care if they're gay or straight or young or old or whatever. I'm just judging them on their plate of food. But after you have 2 or 3 dishes by the same cook or chef, what it is. I can tell somebody who knows how to season food, who cares about their environment, who has a subtle palate, or who, has good instinct but is still very crude in their technique.
Yeah.
Embark on a gastronomic tour through Europe's finest flavors with European Tasty Tales, a podcast series that explores interesting stories behind traditions, taste, and iconic European Union products such as Italian Pecorino Romano, Croatian extra virgin olive oil, and Irish whiskey. Each episode celebrates the stories, culture, and people behind these extraordinary culinary experiences. Start your tasty adventure today by listening to European Tasty Tales on Spotify.
I'm curious, do you enjoy going to restaurants, or is it kind of a job for you?
It's not a job for me because I don't review restaurants, but, I love going out to eat, but I'm not a big restaurant person. I used to be, but maybe now. It's just, I like to eat at home. When I really want to have a good time, I like eating at restaurants and trying different restaurants. But when I want to have a really good time, I'm at home. You know, I'm at home, I'm with friends or family, I'm with the doors closed and the curtains drawn and or the terrace open. But you you get my drift. I just, you know, I think there's an intimacy when you can let yourself be and just relax. I think being in public is tenuous sometimes, you know, for all of us, but especially with like camera phones but not even that. It's just like I feel even terrible talking about it because it's such a high class problem to have. But sometimes when I go out to eat, somebody's being really nice from the kitchen and sends me a lot of different food and it's lovely. But usually I just order what I want to eat, you know, and usually when I'm not working and I'm eating out, you know, it's because I want to rest and relax and I just want to see friends. I don't want to eat heavy, you know, because I don't eat at home like you see me eat on TV. I eat super simply. It's mostly vegetarian. You know, there's a lot of fish and chicken, but it's very simple. You know, in Hindi you would say ghar ka khana, you know, house, you know, the food of the house. It's not the food of the restaurant.
When you cook at home, do you use cookbooks or recipes, or are you just kind of cooking from the heart at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I have a very large collection of cookbooks. I get sent so many. I mean, there's so many cookbooks that are published in a year, which is scary because I'm about to publish one in November. Thank you. It's called Padma's All-American, and it is available for pre-sale right now.
We're going to talk all about it, I promise.
No, I mean, but I love cookbooks. I always have. And, you know, I'm not a chef. I'm a food writer. I don't want to be a chef. I love food. I love cooking food. My job is how to tell you to make and enjoy something when I'm not standing in the room, right? So I love cookbooks. I don't follow recipes unless I'm, you know, doing it to blurb a book or there's really something specific like, you know, how to make some kind of cake or pastry that I'm following recipe. But I do reference them. I do reference them. We have a whole cookbook library at home. There's nothing but cookbooks in there.
How do you organize it? With great difficulty, I imagine.
No. Somebody does it for me. No, I mean, there's a wonderful woman in our office that is really great. And, you know, different people, we've all kind of arranged it at one point or another. It's, you know, I've lived in this place for 12 years. So we've had to build more bookshelves and we've had to reorganize it. And so we all take turns and, you know, it's better they do it because I'm the most anal retentive of all. And
is
then
it like alphabetical or color or region?
No, it's not in color. Gross. No, who does that? Really?
Not me.
Okay.
No, I don't. I swear, Padma.
How do you find anything? No, I mean...
Mine is not organized at all.
Okay. I organize them by subject, you know, usually by geographical location. And then there are people, you know, like me who cook from all over the place, but not just me, right? A whole bunch of people like Ottolenghi or Nigella or whatever. So those people I have in a certain section. And then I have all of Nathan Myhrvold's books, and I'd have to reinforce that part of the bookshelf. And then, you know, I have reference books, and I have like La Technique and all of the gourmet cookbooks and all of, you know, the joy of cooking, you know, sort of it's, and then I have antique cookbooks. I love little vintage cookbooks that I've gotten over the years. So we have a lot, but the food memoir is in another part of the house and in the writing room in the office. And so those are just in one section, the sort of food memoir. But then there's the only thing that I alphabetize, I would say, is the fiction, the authors for the fiction.
Well, I guess we should talk about your book since we're talking about cookbooks. And your new book you developed over the past 7 years of working on Taste the Nation. I'm really interested in how you first thought about wanting to turn that research and reporting into a book and how you see the book living in concert with the TV series.
Well, Taste the Nation was a book idea to start with, and it was only supposed to be a cookbook, and I sold it to my publisher, Dan, and then I showed it to my producing partner, and we were working on a show about immigration. We did a lot of research just even for the cookbook, and I showed him the proposal, and he said, "This is our show." He said, "We should blend the two." And that's how the show was born. And then it took us like a year and 7 no's before we got a yes. But then when we did get a yes, I put the book aside and I did the show. And then pandemic happened, and then I did the show some more. And, then I left Top Chef, had some time on my hands. So I finally finished the book. And 7 years later, it's finally done now.
Can you tell us about a couple memorable meals from the TV show that have been able to live on in the book?
Sure. Probably the best thing I ate across all episodes of Taste the Nation, and quite possibly also Top Chef, low-key, was this beautiful kabuli pulao. It's an Afghan dish. And it's delicious. And if you're ever in DC, go to this restaurant called Lapis, Lapis, Lapis in DC. It's wonderful.
It's a delicious restaurant. I've been there.
So yummy. And, I don't eat a lot of lamb at all. And she showed me how to make this dish. And it was, it's got a few parts to it, but it's all doable. It's all, again, home cooking. You don't need much technique. Just need patience with yourself and time. Do it on a Saturday the first couple of times, but it's so stunning. It's lamb that's cooked and stewed, and then you add rice on top of it, and then it cooks. Use the longest grain of basmati you can find, and then you saute carrots and butter with some raisins and cinnamon, and then you invert it. And you have this beautiful lamb and rice, and then you cover the thing with these, glossy carrots, and it's just delicious. It's so succulent and aromatic and
Sounds
warm.
Really good.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I'm always
and it's
interested
in the book.
When you're talking about like a developing or kind of adapting a recipe, how much did you want to stick to exactly how it was made for you versus making it more doable for a home cook?
Oh, I want to make it completely doable for the home cook, because it doesn't mean anything unless I get you to make it, right? And then I want to, even if I give you shortcuts or substitutions, the end result should give you the same feeling, the same taste and texture that I experienced. It's a taste memory that I'm working off of usually, and then I check my work with whoever did the recipe and see how close it is, because that's how we all do it. I mean, I want everybody to cook on a weeknight. I want everyone to cook, as daily as possible, at least 5 nights a week. And so, it's important to know that some recipes are for a Saturday, and some recipes, like there's this yogurt chicken in the book. My mom used to make it for me all the time. My mom was a full-time nurse. She worked at Sloan Kettering. She had no time. She left the house before I did for school, and then she came back like at 6:30. And it's a wonderful recipe. You just marinate the chicken in yogurt and spices all day, or in the fridge and overnight, and then you just put it in the oven, and it is so yummy, and it makes a lovely sauce, which is not pretty, I'm not gonna lie, but it's delicious. A lot of this food, it was really a task styling the recipes. All the pictures in the book are completely gotten on the road, except for the food photography, obviously. So the beauties are ones that we staged and did in my apartment. And it was tough, with some of them, because our food is not always the most photogenic, but it's so delicious, this recipe, and it's about as easy as can be.
I guess on the opposite end, what was a recipe in the book that was the most difficult to kind of perfect and get to a perfect place?
I would say there's a 3-layer cake. There's a cardamom and strawberry cake that is beautiful. It's pound cake, three layers of pound cake with strawberries and cream cheese frosting and dried rose petals. I mean, it's glorious. It's a showstopper. And that recipe actually first appeared Most of them are new recipes, but that one appeared in on the cover of the 100th anniversary of Better Homes and Gardens. And I'm not a big dessert person. I love ice cream, but I don't bake so much. And I'm always in awe of this cake because it's really beautiful.
It is like a cover-worthy cake. I've seen it in the book. Yeah. And something else that I was really drawn to in the book is you have these essays that are kind of sprinkled throughout that are very personal about people in your life and their connections to food or identity or foodways, all of these things. And I'm curious what kind of inspired you to include them.
Well, I mean, it is a cookbook mostly, but it's also very much a travel log. So I want you to feel like you're on this giant road trip with me and going through all these different communities from Lowell, Massachusetts to DC to, the Sea Islands in South Carolina to Arizona to everywhere. And so I want you also to feel what I felt on the road, meeting all these people. When you travel in these small towns and you're just not staying in a big hotel and there for 2 days, or when you're not with relatives, really, we embed ourselves for a week in each of these communities. And, our research team and our producers were doing weeks and weeks of preparation with research and talking to people in the town and finding out what the most interesting stories are. So when you actually, by the time you get there, you're very, very curious and well equipped. And it was just the most intellectually stimulating experience of my life, and also spiritually stimulating in my life. Especially, it's such a contrast now. My experience, it makes me choked up. My experience traveling through this country and meeting all these different Americans. The book is called Padma's All American, and I had such a good time, and I got to know so many different people, dance teachers, city council members, restaurateurs, ex-gang members, all these different, historian, whatever, the woman who drove the hot dog mobile in Milwaukee for, really interesting people. And now we're so polarized, and every time I open Instagram or whatever, it's such a turnoff. But I had an extraordinary experience, and I wanted to include all of that in the cookbook as well. I am a writer, so first and foremost, I know I'm most known to most people as a person on TV, but for me, that kind of writing is what sustains me. And I want you to feel what I was feeling. I want you to know these people, because the book is really about them. It's not about me. It's about me learning about them.
Yeah, I think it made me feel really tenderly towards all of these people that I, maybe had seen their name or seen them on the show, but knowing about your personal relationship with them, I think often in food media, we talk about how food is the way that you can get to know a culture or another person. And the reality is that a lot of these recipes are really personal recipes that have been born out of immigration to this country. And, maybe papaya isn't available for the somtam, so they do apple instead. Like the really personal techniques and ways that these dishes have come about. And I think to me, seeing the essays made it seem like more forgiving and kind to these people, that you're not just showing this recipe, but you're showing who they are as well.
Well, I'm more interested in who they are than the food. The food is the collateral benefit, right? Taste the Nation is a food show, but it's kind of just a food show in masquerade. It's really a political show. It's really a show about people and Americans and who we really are on the ground. And so it is sort of my answer to everything that's going on. It is my answer to Stephen Miller. In the most benevolent, peaceful way I can, and that's also what the book is as well. It's an act of resistance. It's just, it's active resistance through joy and through food, and to celebrating all of these immigrants through their food and their huge contributions to the landscape and culture of this country.
Yeah, it makes America what it is.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think everyone here probably will be already eager to get the book, but I think talking about it in that kind of way and what it means in this moment is really interesting. And you mentioned social media a little bit before. I love following you on Instagram, and I think it's really interesting to see how you can kind of tell stories and present across different platforms. I'm curious, like, what your relationship with social media is. Like, do you consume food content on Instagram?
My relationship is very mixed on social media. I try not to consume a lot of any kind of content because I don't have a lot of time on my hands. And before I know it, 20 minutes have gone by or 40 minutes have gone by, and I could have been reading. And, no, seriously, I know I sound so boring, but I don't have a lot of time, and I'm a slow reader, and I think that will benefit me more. So I just try to post, check, see a few things, and get off quickly. I mean, I'm always, saving recipes for weird things. Like, I didn't know you can make so much stuff with cottage cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, and I got
protein.
sucked into it. I made this weird mango cheesecake. And then I got creative, so I added saffron in it, and then I was like, this is way too much saffron, and like, cottage cheese is not supposed to be in here, and, So you do get sucked into that food content, but, it's a lot, social media. I mean, I did clap back to these two girls. I don't remember their names, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Maybe we don't need to bring it up.
It's okay. It's fine.
It was a
I said what I said.
It was on a restaurant topic, right?
Yeah, no, it was just people who were, critiquing, but really just being rude.
I think if your criticism is not coming from a place of knowledge, we should have a new kind of word for it, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely not in the room, so I think we're safe. But another thing I find interesting on social media are the videos that you post with your daughter. And since the theme of tonight is stay cool, I'm wondering if having a teenage daughter makes you feel more or less cool.
It tells me I'm not cool at all. At all. I mean, she can say with one look what it takes a grown adult a paragraph to insult you with. Really, it's astonishing. It's, she does not give a shit what I've accomplished or why I should get say over anything. She's just like, whatever. I mean, well, you see it. You see the cleaned up version.
Yeah, we see the Instagram Reels version. But I think that's the universal mother-daughter experience, maybe, at least for most people.
That's what they tell me. I live in America, so I can't beat my child.
She paid me to say this, actually.
I don't want to get deported now. Made it this far.
Stephen Miller at the gates.
Can you believe he's 39?
Is he?
I know. Evil ages you.
That's hateful. He's pickling from the outside.
He looks like he's 58. Sorry.
What would your beauty tip for Stephen Miller be?
Choose kindness.
Yeah.
Seriously. I think George Orwell said everyone gets the face they deserve at 50. God, I don't want to see what Stephen Miller looks like at 50. Surely getting deported now.
I'll change the topic for your safety, and I want to ask you about your thoughts on New York. I know you've been in New York for a long time, and I think everyone who lives in New York today always thinks about the previous eras. I'm curious if you could have a meal in any era of New York, what era you would choose and where you would go.
I mean, I'm a New York kid. I came here when I was 4 from India, and, I've grown up here. So I have seen 70s New York, 80s New York, not too much because we moved out to the West Coast, but 90s New York. I was a model here in the 90s in New York. It was wild. We weren't always eating much.
You're doing other things.
But, I do remember a lot of restaurants. So there used to be this great restaurant called Le Deux Gamines on Christopher Street. Does anyone remember Le Deux Gamines? You do, of course, the gray-haired man who's my age, I'm sure, yes. It's cute. It was cool. It was run by these two women, and it was on the corner. And I remember across the street, Lou Reed had a recording studio. And I used to go there because, see above, I was a model. I had nothing to do at 4 p.m. having my 7th coffee. And he would come out and he would chat with me, and then he would go back in. And I felt so cool, being a young 20-something in New York. The 90s was great. There were lots of restaurants like that. There was also La Goulou, which is one of those old wood-paneled restaurants on the Upper East Side. And, it's kind of, I know that's a certain kind of old-fashioned French cooking, but it's very beautiful. And it's, there's not a lot of places now in New York City you can get a great souffle and sort of, it's the kind of thing your parents would go to for an anniversary and things like that. Like, lots of those are still around, though. There's Elio's on the Upper East Side, which is an old Italian restaurant. Lots of places are there, but La Goulou, not there anymore. So many restaurants.
Yeah, but I think timeless, that is one of the things that New York does the best. You can feel like maybe if you squint, the waiters have been there for 100 years and they're exactly the same.
Balthazar is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I remember being at Balthazar in 1997. And feeling like I was so cool because I had made it to the, whatever, because it would take forever to get a reservation or whatever. But it doesn't really. There's a secret number.
Yeah. I don't have the secret.
I didn't know that then. I was so wide-eyed. And most people don't, I guess. So New York is one. They do now. No, I'm serious. There are all these secret little rabbit holes of New York, and that's what makes New York so great, is that every decade, every year, every person who comes here gets to experience their own New York, and that of course evolves. New York is never as great as when you first got here. Talk to any New Yorker and if they've been here 5 years, it's already changing. They've been here 20, it was better back then. The aughts were great.
Yeah.
But I remember all those decades. I remember the talk party at Liberty Island, which felt like Great Gatsby when Tina Brown was launching that magazine. I remember at that party, everybody was there and they had no electricity. They just had generators, so you couldn't really see people until you got really close to them, which is really cool because I saw all kinds of people. I saw Madonna. I saw Henry Kissinger. I'm serious. This is that kind of party. I won't go to many of these, but they're really fascinating, and I think that's what's kind of magical about New York. But like the 70s New York, I grew up roller skating all over the city when I was 9. I would have never, now she's 15, but I would have never let my daughter have as much autonomy as I had. I had a 70s parent. I was a latchkey kid, and I was running the streets. I had my first kiss behind Gracie Mansion. Yeah, really.
How was it?
I used to roller skate at the Roxy. Brooke Shields used to go there. We spotted her once. It was, I can tell you, any decade from the 70s on.
Have you been
to a calendar of memories of New York?
Have you been to the secret Carbone beneath Barclays?
No, I don't give a shit about Carbone.
On the record.
No. Nothing is secret at the Barclays. Who are we kidding? Excuse me.
Okay, I heard some gasps when I said that in the room, so maybe not everybody knew, but I've never eaten there, so.
At Carbone, I've eaten there. It's like a glorified spaghetti and meatballs kind of place, and the meatballs are really delicious, and the front room is really beautiful, and if you're lucky enough to get those tables, it's great. It tends to attract a certain kind of guy who has money to spend and wants to spend it. And it's sort of like the waiters really play up the kind of, you're in a,
The old school shtick.
Yeah, the old school shtick. It has its charm. Like, my entertainment attorney took me there once.
Yeah. It's definitely lawyer food. I guess for the sake of entertainment, I want to ask you a little bit about this new TV show that you are developing, America's Culinary Cup.
Yes.
I believe you're going to be the creator, executive producer, and host of this show.
Yeah, I'm going to do the floors and windows.
The one-woman band. What's the idea behind it?
It's just, I can't talk about it because we haven't even shot it yet. And I hate talking about work before it's done. I'm kind of like reluctant to do that. But it's a really big show. It's the biggest undertaking that our production company has done. We did Taste the Nation. We've got a couple other scripted things in development. And this is something I know very well. And so I thought that the genre was ready for a refresh and something that disturbed it and shook it up. And I didn't want that to be done by someone else, frankly, and the most fun I have on the show and on Taste the Nation too is not in front of the camera. On Taste the Nation, I went to every color correction. I went to every sound mixing. I wrote the voiceover. I met with all of my producers, my field producers, my story producers, all of that. And that for me was so invigorating and so interesting. And that, I'm learning so much with this show as well. And, we haven't shot it at all. We're still in development right now. And so I'm sort of knee deep in pre-production. So I can't, out of respect to all the people that I work really hard with, and I don't want to say anything more, but we're giving away $1 million. I can say that. Yeah. $1 million fucking dollars. It's a lot of money. $1 million. I think it's 4 times as much as most other shows, if not all. I don't know what other.
And you're doing that because you want to bring in like a really high level of talent to compete for that $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want it to be something that every chef wants to do. Like every actor wants to win an Oscar.
Everyone wants to win America's Culinary Cup.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Wimbledon.
I guess maybe
literally like this. Yeah, stuffed with $1 million.
Yeah. Are you gonna hand it out?
Nope. I'm just gonna let Price Waterhouse hand them a check or
Perfect.
something. Whatever they tell me to do. The CBS security department tells me to do. I'm gonna do that.
You can give it to me to pass out, and I promise it will make it to them.
I'm sure. What would you do with $1 million?
Oh, I would fund some independent literary magazines, such as my own, but also some other ones.
Have you guys, I don't have my purse out here, but check out the new issue of Cake Zine. It's pretty sexy.
And no one was paid to say that either. To close today, I want to play a rapid fire game with you. So I'm going to ask you to play some favorites.
Okay.
What is the most stained, worn, used, beat up cookbook in your collection?
These little tiny series of 3 books in soft cover. In Tamil, they're called Samaithapada, which means cook and see. And they're very old, and they have insane measurements, like a fist of this and a gram of that. And but it's what filled in the blanks when I was on my own without the women in my life, the women who raised me. And I still refer to it because I'm not sure sometimes. And it's great. It's a great reference. But also great Italian book called Il Talismano della Felicità that was written by years ago, maybe in the 50s, by Ada Boni. And it's great. It's like every bride used to get it in her trousseau. And it's a beautiful Italian cookbook. And I think Rizzoli actually had it translated. And you can get an English version, which is called the Talisman Cookbook, but it's kind of not as romantic. It's like the Talisman of Happiness.
Okay, 3 things that are always in your fridge.
eggs, milk, hot sauce.
What kind?
Several kinds. I have so many. My fridge is 65% condiments. Literally, it's everything. Everything. Like 15 chili crisps, lots of Indian pickle, sriracha, sambal oleg, tapatio, yucateca, some Hawaiian chili water that is like napalm, some green salsa that my daughter likes because it's mild. She is half white, my daughter. You know, she's biracial, so.
What do you listen to when you're cooking?
You know, I listen to sort of like things like Django Reinhardt, or I listen to Liszt, you know, or Debussy. So I like to listen to old-timey stuff like that. I like Led Zeppelin, but not when I'm cooking. I just want to lie on the floor and smoke a doob when I'm listening to Led Zeppelin. But, you know, for me, when I'm cooking, I don't want to be stoned. I want to cook. And then
Flow state.
Yeah.
What would you say is an overrated ingredient?
Truffles.
That's always the answer.
Is it?
I ask
I want to
people a
change
lot.
my answer then. What's an overrated? Black pepper. Why? I think it's a phallic thing. They all come with these big foot-long pepper grinders. You notice, like, now in every restaurant, in every dish, you have to have black pepper freshly ground. You know, for salad, for soups, for your ice cream. You know,
It's a good answer. What's your underrated kitchen tool?
a microplane. I think for chocolate or lemon zest or nutmeg or so many things.
Definitely. Your go-to late night snack?
Toasted sourdough with peanut butter and pomegranate seeds, a palm toast. But in the summer, I like the same thing, but with blackberries, just fresh blackberries smushed on top.
Your go-to ice cream flavor?
Either coffee or most preferred is mint chocolate chip, like dark chocolate. Breyers is great.
Do you like it when it's that artificial green, or do you?
No,
Yeah.
I don't. I'll eat it because sort of ice cream is like sex. Even bad, it's really pretty good. It's ice cream. How bad could it be?
Same with pizza, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, a now closed restaurant that you wish you could magically revive.
San Domenico. It's where it's where Maria is now, and Maria is a great restaurant, but that was a beautiful Italian restaurant. Boring, but really good food. Like, don't go there to, you know, seen and be seen, but do go there to spend a great 2 hours eating your face off.
Eliza, we're back with Three Things. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. You want to start?
Yeah, I had my first corn ice cream of the summer at Malai a couple nights ago. They're doing a corn saffron ice cream right now, and it was just so delicious and sunny and perfect.
I love Malai. We had Pooja on the show a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I'm so happy that corn is in your ice cream dish.
Yeah, I think corn ice cream has been a kind of rising ice cream flavor over the past couple of summers, and it's something that I always seek out. And I just happened to be walking by the shop, and when I saw that on the board, I immediately ducked in.
I love it. I mean, corn can be so cloyingly sweet when they don't do it right. It has to have the corn flavor.
Yeah, it had really strong corn flavor,
Yum.
and then like a little bit of that saffron, which was nice.
Yum. I love Malai. So cool.
What's your first thing?
My first thing is I was sent a box by the folks at Campo Grande, and I am thrilled to have a lot of Spanish pork I'm ready to cook it. I met the founder at the Fancy Food Show, this guy named Kurt, and he's really gung-ho and really smart about how he's positioning it. What I like about Iberico is that with Spanish pork, we often think about the cured varieties coming out of Spain. And we often don't think about the fresh frozen varieties that are being raised on acorns and finished and has this really beautiful flavor profile. It's a little bit sweeter than, of course, the pork that you get here that isn't heritage breed like the Berkshire porks that have deep flavor. The industrial pork, the other white meat hole of it all, that was like the whole branding that was like such a troubled branding back in the day for a lot of people who were trying to raise pork to actually have flavor.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be cooking my way through it and maybe check back because I'm just excited to try the different cuts. I sent some St. Louis ribs for slow roasting, and I've also have a Banco Iberico cut as well, which I think is a quick flat iron sear on both sides, like a 2-3 minutes on each side. So happy to play around with these beautiful products. It's Campo Grande.
Sounds great.
What's your next one?
My next thing is that I went to a Elena pizza pop-up at Frank's maybe last night. What is time? That Blackbird was co-hosting, and they were doing the Frank's F&F kind of style pizza, and then also Elena was doing their pizza. And I've been wanting to go to this Montreal-based kind of pizza wine bar restaurant for a while, but I actually have still never been to Montreal before.
Really?
I really want to go, but luckily I got to have their pizza right here in Brooklyn, and it was so good. There was a spinach pie with hot honey that I want to say it was almost damp, not in a bad way, just it was a very saucy, well-dressed pie. Also, cherry tomato stracciatella that was just so good.
Love that you went to one of those pop-ups. When Clayton and I were on a pizza crawl, we stopped by F&F and Frank came out and we chatted about these pop-ups they're doing all summer with Blackbird. And I've been checking the photos and jealous. How was the vibe in the backyard?
It was fun. I came a little late because I was working late, but I immediately walked around to all the pizza stations.
Yeah.
They also were doing seafood salad on the side, a kind of broad bean salad. And obviously Frank's Pizza is always great, but I think especially to get to have this pizza from Canada was really special. I enjoyed it.
Amazing. We have to get up to Montreal for some work. We had a meeting with the fine folks at the Canadian Maple Syrup Agency. Working on some stuff.
Hey, Canada.
Hey, Canada. Can you contain us? That's what I'm saying.
What's your next thing?
Well, I want to bring up a book that you and I discussed. We were chatting about all of the great fall cookbooks coming out. We're going to come out with some previews and have a bunch of authors on the show in the fall. But this one jumped out to both of us, and I just have to call it out. Fungi Decoded. I say fungi, but fungi it's fungi. Right?
I think fungi, yeah.
I don't know why I go to fungi. It's fungi, obviously, like a fungi. Anyways, that's just me projecting. The author is Britt Bunyard, and Britt is the editor-in-chief of Fungi magazine, and he served as the executive director of the Telluride Mushroom Festival since 2014.
Okay, I have been truly dying to go to this festival every summer. I have a group of friends who went and they did a group Animenta mushroom costume.
Oh, that's really cool.
Have you seen the photos from this?
I've never seen it. I'm new to this festival. I'm more familiar with the film festival.
I think fungi freaks would be the positive term that people would use. There's people who are really into mushrooms, and it just looks very wholesome, and I would love to go.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a blend of fun cooking demos and just fun, fungi events with it seems like it's a academic presentation of a lot of the work that they're doing too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of mycology experts and then also just people who love mushrooms.
It's cool. So back to the book, it's a unique book because within the book there's a spinner in it, and you can go to several different styles of mushroom with this quick spinner, and then refer to that actual mushroom and go back in the book. So it's giving you an opportunity to land on a random mushroom and then go back and look at all the detail that Britt is doing, all the reporting. And I think one of us is going to chat with Britt this fall. So I love it. What's your last thing?
My last thing is that I went to Fire Island for the first time last weekend after 8 or 9 years of living in New York, which was so much fun. And on the way, we stopped at Leggio's, which is an old school Italian deli in Bayshore, Long Island, that I believe was open for 30 to 40 years and then closed. And then this summer they've reopened again. And honestly, we were just looking for a place to get big sandwiches that we could bring close to the ferry. But I thought the sandwiches were so delicious. I totally understand why it's a cult favorite on Long Island. I got a chicken cutlet sandwich, like a chicken parm situation. That was super good. But they have a list of, over 30 sandwiches that are available. They are hefty. It was like a full day's worth of sandwich.
I love it.
And it's really close to the ferry, so it's a very convenient stopover.
What a great rec. Quick thoughts on Fire Island, your first visit.
I love Fire Island. I went for the Bafo Performing Arts Festival that was happening. So it's a festival right on the beach. There's DJ sets and then performance art, and it's kind of a mix of the two. And it was much more peaceful and remote than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And it's such a skinny island that when you're walking down these kind of wooden boardwalks with the bamboo, you can look and you can see the ocean on both sides of you.
Man.
So I found it really peaceful. Obviously, the festival was a little less peaceful and fun. And, there isn't a lot of food available on Fire Island because it is so remote. So when we were, eating our sandwiches on the beach, we had a lot of people be like, where did you get that? And I had to say that it was on the other side of the ferry.
The other side of the ferry, Italian sandwich.
What's your last thing?
My last thing is I want to talk about the series America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders.
I love this for you, Matt.
love this show. I think I watched the first season last year. It's on Netflix. I really liked it. I thought it was a little bit maybe more about the competition than the people. And the director is Greg Whitley, and Greg is behind a series of amazing sports documentaries. Last Chance U was on for several seasons. It was covering the JUCO football scene in the South and in California. And then he also did the documentary New York Doll, which I remember back. It's like 20 years old. It's the story of Arthur Kane, and it revolves around the reunion of the New York Dolls. Morrissey's involved. It's a great documentary. Such a skilled documentarian. And this is really such a cool show, season 2 of the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, because it traces the tryouts for this really iconic dance team. By many accounts, it's one of the most prestigious in the country. And I think the folks who compete in competitive dance are always trying to get to that Dallas Cowboys cheerleader the top of the mountain. And it's just a lot of really great personal stories of these dancers and how they're not just like physical talents, but the mental and the artistic elements of these dance routines. It all comes together in a wonderful story. The two women behind the dance team or the cheerleaders, they're compelling characters. They're former dancers themselves. They're like real bosses out there, and they have a lot of tough decisions to make when they're cutting down the team. So if you're a fan of like Hard Knocks, if you like this football training camp show that's all about cuts and the drama, this is like a really great watch that's kind of related. And I'm pulling for them. I mean, they're incredible athletes, and the skill involved in being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, I had no idea. So I love it. Yeah,
and they also, successfully lobbied for a big pay raise, right?
This is a plot point on the show, and I'm only halfway through, and they're really starting to plant those seeds halfway through, and I think that will be a big arc in this season, and good for them to do that. And I really am impressed by this documentary series.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I have been seeing some news articles about this, and I know at least I won't spoil for you what they end up at, but previously they were making, I think, $8 an hour to be cheerleaders at the game, which when you look at, obviously how much the NFL is making off of that at the same point in time is just so egregious. So I'm excited to watch the show to see how they, successfully lobbied for better pay, and I hope that it will be something that the rest of the teams will follow.
Probably, and definitely it's a big point there. And just like the intensity of these routines is crazy.
Right. Definitely deserves a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing your 3 things.
You too. This is Taste is hosted and produced by Matt Rodbard and me, Eliza Barbanel. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell, logo and guest illustrations by Ellie Skurzat. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.